Congresswoman and member of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committees, Nicole Malliotakis, is here. Congresswoman, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. What are your thoughts? Will we see these people go on strike?
Look, I'm hopeful that this can be averted, and I think it's incumbent upon the White House to be working as they did in September. They put together a Band-Aid that got them through the election, but now's when the real work begins, and I think that they have to keep a very close eye on this, as does Congress, if we need to intervene. We cannot allow this to happen. It would be devastating to the economy. It would cost us roughly $2 billion a day. If you think there's supply chain issues and high costs of goods right now, wait until there's a rail strike. So we can't allow that to happen. And in addition to that, one of the other major issues right now is the diesel shortage in the Northeast. And I'm concerned that if we see this rail strike and we have a very cold winter, we could have some serious problems. That, coupled with other issues domestically and throughout the world, could have a real negative impact on people's ability to heat their homes in the next few months.
Yeah, I want to talk about the heating of the homes for sure. But look, you've got, what, a week and a half, almost 2 weeks before December 9th. December 9th is the day that the rail workers could actually hit the picket lines. What would an intervention by Congress look like? What would you do? Would you and your colleagues and the Democrat leadership force the unions to accept this deal, force the unions to negotiate in good faith? What would Congress's intervention look like?
Yeah, look, obviously the Democrats hold the majority in the cards right now, but I would say that implementing the deal that was agreed to as a Band-Aid, plus any concessions that have been made by both sides since then, I think that could be a framework that we deal with. But one thing is for sure, we can't allow this strike to continue. And I think that both sides, quite frankly, don't want Congress meddling. And so I think as we get closer, you will see them really try to hash this out last minute. Because if Congress comes in, you don't know what the deal could potentially look like. So I think that's what everyone's trying to avoid right here. I just think that, other members of Congress, the White House certainly should be very vocal at this moment to try to push both sides to come to an agreement to avert what could be devastating for our economy.
Well, for sure, it'll be devastating. But you call it a Band-Aid. I call it nothing. Joe Biden came out and did a press conference about this quote-unquote tentative deal, which wasn't tentative at all. He basically told the unions, put a pin in it until after the elections. He was, misleading the public once again. And now we know that for sure because 4 unions immediately rejected the deal. So they want more sick days. They want paid sick days. They were offered 1 paid sick day. They want 15. Do you think that's doable?
Look, I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle. I think they should certainly have more than 1. They also need some predictive scheduling so they can plan their lives with their families. So they have some valid concerns there. But I think somewhere in the middle will be where you end up with. And I think that compromise would be acceptable by both sides probably by the end of the day. Again, as was mentioned, if one union doesn't accept the deal, the others won't cross the picket line. So the idea here is to try to get everyone at the table. And the president should really be showing leadership right now. Because first he's saying that he's involved, then he's saying he's not involved, and he has hands off. The president cannot allow that to happen. So he needs to step in. That's why members like me who are out there trying to push the president to do his job, but also alerting our fellow colleagues that, look, we need to have the eye on this right now, because I think this is one of the most pressing issues that we need to address when we return tomorrow to Congress to start talking about what we will do if there is a no deal by December 9th.
Okay. All right, Congressman, let me take you back to local stories and your constituents. New York City District Attorney Alvin Bragg has downgraded more than half of all felony charges to misdemeanors. Okay? Felony to misdemeanor in 2022, downgrading 52% of this over the year. Your thoughts on what Alvin Bragg is doing and the fact that we still have cashless bail in place, which is one of the key reasons crime has spiked in your district and throughout New York?
Yeah, I think this is why you're seeing, tourists opt to go to Brooklyn. You're seeing businesses opt to go to Brooklyn instead of Manhattan, is because of DA Alvin Bragg and all the quality of life issues and crime that has emerged in the city. You've also seen an increase in subway crimes. You're talking about a 40% increase, despite the ridership only increasing by 38%. So it's on par, right? But the big issue here that I like to highlight is that right before the election, it was 1 out of 88 New Yorkers who were evicted victim of a felony crime in New York. Now it is 1 out of 74. So, and we're just talking felony crimes, not even just the misdemeanors. I'm talking about the major 7 crimes. So, but the people in Manhattan, unfortunately, the vast majority of them decided to still vote Democrat, even though Lee Zeldin said they would fire Alvin Bragg and replace him. So apparently they like things the way it is, and that's unfortunate for the rest of our city because I think it has an impact on tourism. I think it has an impact on the economy. And Kathy Hochul's response has been not to make the subway safer, but instead, she wants to force through a congestion pricing fee that will further hurt Manhattan, I believe, and prevent tourists and people from the outer boroughs coming in to visit. And that's not the solution. The solution is to make New York safe. And I hope that Kathy Hochul took a note of the election results and saw that half of the state is unhappy with her leadership and the direction that we're going in. And I'm going to keep fighting for responsible government to kind of rein in crime, but also I'm going to look to pass my legislation now that we're in the majority to require states to allow judges to use discretion. This is unacceptable that New York is not doing what other states are doing. It's common sense.
Well, you're right. And we're going to wait and watch your legislation. So far, we have not heard anything from Kathy Hochul. We'll see if she actually believes that she has some kind of a mandate. Because before the election, she said, if you don't like it, get out. Go move to Florida. That's what she actually said. Get out. Congresswoman, thanks very much.
Unfortunately, that ended up being...
Yeah, go ahead. Final word.
I was just going to say, unfortunately, that was the population loss. The people that fled is what Lee Zeldin lost by. So maybe she's got, driving people out of the state. It's helping her probably get reelected.
How disturbing. Nicole Malliotakis, thank you so much. Congresswoman, we'll be watching your leadership.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate your time. Thank you. Quick break, and then the House GOP hopes to